So, is the PS4 still winning the 8th generation console wars against the Xbox One? Well, in this update video, 1 year later, 8th gen PS4 versus Xbox One update, I'm going to be talking about it. We're going to go through some little details here and there regarding who is winning, who's getting the most sales, which system is basically still in the lead and still winning this 8th gen console wars. So overall, let's take a look at system sales, basically the hardware global total sales of the PS4 against the Xbox One. PS4 is at a 11.8 million. It has 46.9% of the market share right now. And this is according to VG Charts, so I'm getting all of this information from VGCharts.com. Xbox One, I'm getting 5.9 million. 23.6% of the market share right now in terms of hardware console sales. 11.8 million PS4 against a very, very slow 5.9 million. Very, very small compared to the PS4. That's practically double. It pretty much is compared to the Xbox One. So obviously when it comes to total system sales, the Sony system is absolutely destroying Microsoft, and Sony should be very happy. They should feel like they accomplished a great thing, because it's been a year later, just about a year later, and they are still kicking ass. And just to throw it in there, the Wii U has 7.4 million. This is almost 2 years of being out, practically 2 years. The Wii U has only 29.5% of the market share, but they are still ahead of the Xbox One. How absolutely embarrassing for Microsoft in terms of sales, but that's their fault. It's who they can't blame anybody else but themselves. These are the same people that said they were going to have restrictions, that placed restrictions on their upcoming system. This was last year. They bragged about how, oh, we're not going to have any of that. You can't have used gaming anymore. All of these restrictions, everybody got pissed off. They were like, fuck this, alright? So we're going to move on to Sony, and we're just going to go with that. It's unfortunate too, because in my opinion, I think that the 360 had a pretty good legacy aside from the Red Ring of Death. And the Red Ring of Death was a pretty bad thing, I gotta say. I mean, if you take a look at it, Sony's PS3, the PlayStation 3, against the fucking 360, I take the PS3 hands down. It's just a superior system overall. There are a few games on the 360 that you can't find on the PS3 that makes the 360 worth checking out. But overall, PS3, its reliability, its absolutely quality system that runs and it doesn't break down, not nearly as much as the fucking 360. That's a given fact. So, Microsoft, I don't know what they're gonna do in the 9th generation if they do continue making consoles against Sony. I can only hope that Sony keeps rising in sales and they keep pumping out those must-have exclusives, because it's one thing to have, you know, multi-plats. It's one thing to have Assassin's Creed and everybody has GTA and everybody has the same games, you know, everybody has Call of Duty and all that shit. But Sony's gotta have a consistent stream of amazing exclusives that sets it apart from the Xbox One. Microsoft, they got their own share of games. They got Sunset Overdrive. They got their own titles. And Sony, they're gonna need something like a killer app. And I've been talking about this practically for the past year, about they need a killer app. They need an amazing hot new game. And that's the hardware sales. Let's talk about the overall scores for the games themselves. So which system has better reviewed games, better scores, overall a better library of games? Let's take a look at the Xbox One first. Okay, this one's for the Xbox One. I'm taking a look at the highest reviewed games on Metacritic right now, the Metascore, so this is not the user score. The official scores, Rayman Legends is at number 1. Rayman Legends, they have a 91 out of 100. I believe Rayman Legends is a multi-plat, so you can find that on other systems as well, but it's also available on the Xbox One. FIFA 14 coming in at number 2, 88 out of 100, so it's got a solid 88. Guacamelee Super Turbo has an 88 as well. Minecraft Xbox One Edition, so the Xbox One port of the ever-popular Minecraft, has an 87 out of 100. Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor has an 87. NBA 2K14 has an 86. Titanfall, the fairly new game, the new IP of the Xbox One, Titanfall has an 86. Solid Score and Tomb Raider Definitive Edition has an 86. Other highly received games include Diablo 3 Ultimate Evil Edition has an 86. Forza Horizon 2 has an 86 again, and Pinball FX2 has an 85. So those are some of the highest, the top rated games for the Xbox One. There's a lot of 80s in there, and there's only one in the 90s as far as the actual, the Metascore. I mean, Rayman Legends is the only one, and that's rather unfortunate for the Xbox One. You kind of expected a little bit more in the high 9s, in the 90s something. Time will tell. It depends. Maybe the upcoming Sunset Overdrive could be something in the 90s. It could be a highly reviewed game, a hot new game, hot new IP. You never really know, but Xbox One, they gotta have those fucking amazing games too. Even Titanfall, it's got a solid score of 86, but kind of expected it to be a little bit higher for, that hot new exclusive. Still not too shabby. Now let's take a look at the PlayStation 4, the PS4's freaking Metascores. Okay. Number one is The Last of Us Remastered. So they got The Last of Us, a port of a last-gen game. This game already came out on the PS3, but they put it out on the PS4 anyway. Got a score of 95, solid 95. That's a pretty high score, and even the user score is pretty high, so I mean, this is a very strong game, and the PS4 got it. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of this developer, because they tend to, I enjoyed some of their work, but as far as The Last of Us, we've seen it already. This is more of a PS3 game, so it's almost like it's cheating, It's almost like it's cheating. It feels kind of weird when a last-gen game comes out. It reminds me of, like, Resident Evil 4 Wii Edition. I remember when that came out, I think maybe in 07, and it was an old game, but it was like a high, top-rated, reviewed game on the Wii, and it was like, that's the #1 game on the Wii for like a long time. Okay, Flower is number 2, has a score of 91. Flower, again, a game that we've seen before. Diablo 3 Ultimate Evil Edition has a 90, so it actually got higher on the PS4, the scores on the PS4. Got better reviews on the PS4 than on the Xbox One, Diablo 3. That's very interesting. Diablo 3 is not exactly a new game. I mean, it's been out for a solid, couple of years now? So Diablo 3 is not exactly the newest game in the world, and still, I mean, it's Diablo 3. Or is it a year and a half? 2 years? Year and a half? Rayman Legends, 90. So this is, Rayman Legends is maintaining a consistent high score amongst the systems, maybe a little slightly higher in the Xbox One, but it's roughly the same, level of quality. Fez has a 90, Minecraft PS4 Edition has an 88, Guacamelee Pix the Cat, 87, Towerfall Ascension, FIFA 14 has an 87, Velocity 2X, Final Fantasy XIV Online, it's actually 14, Final Fantasy 14 Online, 86, 86, the rest is like 80, 85, everything else is 85. So that's about it. That's the highest reviewed games on the PS4 compared to the Xbox One. Overall, the PS4 does technically have more games in the 90s, so it is a stronger library, stronger scores, stronger reviews, and better sales. So the PS4 is undoubtedly winning the 8th gen console wars, and it's been a year. Who knows what it's going to look like another year from now, in late 2015. I can only imagine whatever kind of titles. Microsoft's got to get out off their ass. That's what they got to do. They need something new and different. It's amazing comparing the fucking first year of the Xbox One to the first year of the 360. I'd say the 360 did a little bit better than the Xbox One. As a matter of fact, I think they did a lot better forget a little bit. They did significantly more damage and significantly more. They had more impact. They had better games. They had all these new IPs that came out within the first year of the 360. From late 2005 to late 2006, they had games in '06 especially. All these incredible new games. Dead Rising, Saints Row. They had, what else did they have? They have all kinds of different games, and it was absolutely incredible to see. I think Gears of War, Gears, the first one. Dead or Alive Extreme 2, okay, that's another great game too. So, that was a solid first year, and I can't say the same thing with Xbox One. I mean, it's not even close. I mean, what new IPs were great, except for Titanfall. Titanfall seems to be the only one that is new and fresh, got a good solid score, and left somewhat of an impact. Xbox One didn't do that, and the 360 did in its first year, so it's kind of sad. I predict the sales to be just as low. I think that by next year it's going to be probably around the same, the same ratio. It might pick up in sales, unless something catastrophic happens to the PS4, where there's, a massive technical issue, or some kind of, even like a major hacking thing. Everybody gets hacked, and their PSN accounts get compromised, and everybody's accounts get fucked up. It's gonna take something massively fucked up, something like a tragedy, to derail the PS4 sales compared to the Xbox One, where the Xbox One gets boosted up, where people look back on the Xbox One and go, wow, we gotta get the Xbox One now, we can replace the stupid PS4, like fuck the PS4, let's move on to the Xbox One. I understand that it's still very early. You never know what's gonna fucking happen in 3, 4, 5, 6 years with the last generation. I mean, look at what happened with the PS3. They were always losing to the 360 because the 360 was always ahead, especially in North America, in the United States, when it comes to sales, when it comes to certain games. They would sell a lot more copies on the fucking Microsoft Xbox 360, especially shooters. And I think with the reason for a lot of 360 fans jumping ship and moving to the PS3, and the reason the PS3 advanced and finally tied and ultimately surpassed the fucking 360 right at the very end of the console wars of the 7th gen, is because there were so many problems with the 360, and then you had these amazing games that started coming out on the PS3, and ultimately just finally everybody woke up and realized this is ultimately the better system, it's the better experience, it's just the better system, the PS3 over the 360. And that's about it. I mean, I think you're always going to have Microsoft diehards. You're always going to have the Xbox One diehards that will stick with that shit forever. That's nice and everything, but I think it's almost like it's so obvious at this point that the PS4 is just the better choice in terms of its quality of games, its reviews, its ratings, its sales, and the type of games that they can provide, the overall quality of the fucking PS4. It is a technically stronger system than the Xbox One. That's about it. That's all I have. PS4 is winning, and that's a shame for the fucking Xbox One. Oh boy. Thanks for watching The Review Space, the most underrated channel on YouTube. For more videos, check out youtube.com/The Review Space.